Hey, what's up, everybody? Treadmill talk time. All right, here we go. Um, so I'm going to start off with my title first, which is going to be something along the lines of group thinking. Then I'm probably going to venture all over the place, but I want to be honest with the specifics. Started off with what people are clicking on the title for specifically, and then the rest of my team can hold on and listen to the entire treadmill talk. But anyway, something about groupthink. One of the most important things a person can do is realize how powerful group thinking really is. And when they realize that the way they think, the way they act, their belief systems can actually change within a group. And sometimes people don't realize how powerful of a thing that really is. Groups are usually not built on logic. They're built more on emotion. And when people are in an emotional state, they can cling onto the group so tightly that they're unaware of what they are as an individual anymore. And that's why I say it's absolutely important to realize your individual beliefs, because if you can think through your individuality, it'll make you strong enough to deal with your group environment. And so, two perfect examples, Martin Luther King and Adolf Hitler. Two very different agendas, but two who were able to rise into a situation and put people into their belief system. More so, it was funny because with Adolf's reign, he was bringing priests, bringing actually very kind people into his belief system of how some people were better than others. Some people should rise above others and crush them. And a lot of people ended up dying because of that. It was a very powerful message to the world saying groupthink can be unbelievably dangerous. But then you look at the reverse of a Martin Luther King, and he put people in a position of everybody deserves a chance. Everybody should have equal footing. And people rose into that message. And he brought people into a much more loving message. Even those who may have been hateful in that moment of groupthink, they rose above that. And so, when I talk about this, people really have to realize and take a look in the mirror when they're by themselves and practice, what do I think about when I'm by myself? What do I want when I'm by myself? Because when you strengthen yourself individually, then you can use that groupthink to strengthen your individuality even more. When you know what you want, you go into groups that want the same thing that you want. You just rise together within that group, and you won't have that shame or guilt when you go into a place where you individually think something different, but the group rises you into something else. The group turns you into something else. And I love how Chinese philosophy talks about the yin and the yang, because it talks about being individual and also the inwardness and the externalness. And people have to realize your internal and your external, they do go hand in hand. When you're not strong internally, your external can completely take over. And the same with, if you focus and give power to the external, you will have no internal control. I always say start with the internal first. Start with having your own internal control. When you have internal control of yourself, and you know yourself, and you know where you're looking to go, and you take the time to be by yourself and ask yourself the difficult questions, you'll externally go where you need to go to improve the internal that much more. I hope that makes sense. But I have met so many cool people on this journey, and it's been an absolute blessing. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Just did a couple collaborations within the week, and it was a blast. I talked with Melissa O'Brien. She's such a sweetheart. Had a blast talking with her. We actually talked for over 4 hours, and it didn't feel that way at all. I think we almost got near 5 hours, but we stopped the live stream at like 3 hours or 2 hours, I don't remember. But it didn't feel like I was talking that long because we were just in the conversation. It's a very beautiful thing. And then I spoke with Metaphysical Mike. That was actually a very funny one because we were scheduled to talk on Tuesday, but there was a miscommunication there, and we ended up doing it on Saturday. But the cool thing is it just brought an extra challenge, you know? Like, I was like, why not give it a try? Why not we're going live, you might as well make it interesting. And so I popped up on the live stream, and we got our talk on, and Mike's a very exceptional individual. He's getting stronger every day. He's going to do great things. He has big goals and big dreams. And like I said, you always got to dream big. Dream big, move small. That's what I always say. Dream big, move small. And what's that mean? That means all those little movements, all those little things, everything that you write down, every person that you hang around, all those little tiny things that you do leads to something amazing, leads to something much larger. And the funny thing is when you get to that largeness, people for some reason think you are always there. It's really kind of funny. I know people talk about haters and don't screw your haters and this and that. I love my haters, honestly. Like, I love them up just like I love the people who support me. But my journey's been a little bit different from each person's, just as each person's journey is a little bit different than mine. My haters fuel me. But I think it's because I had haters at a very young age, and I know what they become when you do great things. And they're just like everybody else at the end of the day. When you become strong enough and calloused enough, nothing can touch you anymore. The external becomes just a rising force because your internal is so strong. It's like I've changed who I am as a person, the external environment that I'm surrounding myself as a person. But it's because I worked internally to change that. I internally made a decision that this is what I am. I am a healthy individual. I am a happy individual. I am at peace. I love myself. I love my family. I love my friends. And with those thought processes, my external changed. I started eating healthier. Now again, I'm not saying I eat healthy 100% of the time. Melissa's talking about the potatoes, and I have my Cinnamon Toast Crunch from time to time, and at the fights I had a Pizookie. It was really, really very good. But I don't guilt myself of those things. I live by an 80-20 or 90-10. 90% of the time, I'm on point. 80 to 90% of the time, when it comes to food, I'm on point. Now, when it comes to treating your friends and family right, that's one thing I try my best to be on point 100% of the time. You don't want to mess that up. Food, that's another issue. Go have your apple pie from time to time. Go eat what you want to eat from time to time. Get your release. But in the other areas of your life, go all in. You go all in because everything's just going to pay it forward for you. But I'm saying it again and again, internally first, not externally. Because everybody's always looking for what's out there. Out here, out there. If this makes it better, and it doesn't work that way. I don't know if any of you saw Dosa, lost 88 pounds. Very proud of her. She put in a lot of work. And part of it was I made it about her. Nobody else. It was about her. She had to want to change. And I go, when you want to change, everything else will come together. Everything else will come together, and I will help guide you there. But most people look at a gym membership or a personal trainer or anything of that nature. I'm going to pay a fee, and then you're going to do it for me. And it never works that way. It never works that way, and it doesn't, honestly, some people come away worse from it because of said thing and said thought process. You have to know you want this deeply. Now a trainer can switch it on you and make you want it more than you've wanted it before. I have done that with clients before. I have done it with clients who had no idea of what and how they were thinking about the process. And when you change your thought of the process, everything becomes so much easier. Like, there's so much marketing stuff out there talking about how quick and easy things will come about. And we work and we try and we live our lives and we know the reality, but there's something about that glimmer of the marketing saying, you're saying I can do it this quickly? Really? And that's why now they have in the little small print, results will vary. Because what they're really saying is, I did it, I don't know what your work ethic is. That's kind of in a nutshell what they're saying, because the 30-day money-back guarantee, it's kind of genius actually. But they implement enough things in the 30-day money-back guarantee that they know if you do implement those aspects of it, you will succeed. And the contracts have been created in such a way where they force you to internally make decisions instead of using the external. It's their fault because they said this would happen if I did, and I did it, and okay, we'll give you 30 days. If you follow it this way, and those 30 days, they have you do a lot, and they have you do it fast. And if you do it, most likely you're going to succeed. Like some of them, I get the marketing behind getting that quick sell. I understand it. And some of them are really legit though. Some of them are very, very good. But they don't tell you the hard part because people don't like hearing the hard part sometimes. But the hard part's the most important part of it all. Like, I was thinking about it, and they go, we use the term, well, when you learn to ride a bike, you fell. It was difficult. And I'm not quite sure if that term really works for people, because as a kid, you don't really remember it being that difficult, learning to ride a bike. You fell a couple of times and then you rode the bike. So people think in the real world, oh, so I'm just going to fall a couple of times and get back up and be great. And you go, look, when I fought in the UFC, it was funny because I actually talked to the coach, and I actually got in the UFC too fast. But I told him, I go, I want to be in the UFC in a year. And he sat me down, had a really heart-to-heart personal conversation with me about it. And he goes, no one makes it in the UFC in a year. You're fighting the best of the best. And this was before the hype of all the CM Punks and whatnots, but I'm not even going to go into that. But anyway, they go, no one makes it in the UFC in a year. It's too difficult. There's too many good people there. And that just charged me. I wasn't mad at him for what he said. It made sense. And I told him, I go, I understand. I appreciate your thought behind it. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to train like I'm going to be there in a year. I got there in 1 year's time. Freaked him out too, actually. I can't believe he made it there in 1 year. And the funny thing is, I did get there too fast. There were still skill sets that I was missing that I needed to improve upon to be there and maintain it. And what happened was, within a year's time, I was improving my game, but I was going with high-level competition, and going with high-level competition really early. And I ended up getting out of the UFC and fighting on the stage of Bellator, fighting in WSOF, fighting in very reputable organizations with top-level fighters. But I couldn't maintain the UFC status because there is a stroke of luck sometimes. Sometimes you fall. And the thing with the UFC, because I had the potential to be back, I should have been back, but they even say it themselves. They said, it's hard to get in, it's even harder to get back in. And I literally was one fight away from getting back in. I was on a winning streak, going 4-0, lost to Branch, and Branch ended up making it back in the UFC. He was a 2-division champion, and I feel I could beat Branch, but every fighter has their night. It was his night that night. He ended up grinding it out, winning a decision, and he made it back in the UFC. And so the reason I tell this story is because I'm sure you know I worked hard, very hard, and I fell a lot, and I got back up a lot, and I got better and better and stronger and smarter. But you ride a bike, you fall 3 times, and then you're back at it. But when you really like doing something at a high level, the highest level on the planet, on anything for that matter, best believe you're gonna fall a lot. You are. And that's okay, because you're just gonna keep getting better, and you're just gonna keep grinding. If you're passionate enough about it, if you believe in yourself enough about it. Because passion's more than just, I'm gonna do this. Passion goes deeper than that. It's something where not only are you going to work at perfecting your craft, you're going to understand your craft. You can't do something passionately without understanding it. Because if you can't understand it, you don't know if you're going in the right direction. I should mention one of my videos, momentum. Momentum, one of the most powerful things you can have. Because when you move in the right direction, it can't be stopped. But momentum can go both ways too. If you're moving in the wrong direction, you got to find a way to stop it, and it's hard. It's hard when your momentum's going in the wrong direction. And I've met people whose momentum was going in the wrong direction fast. Only one that I couldn't stop. Like I said, I had one client. I couldn't stop his momentum from moving in that negative direction. It was too strong at that point when I finally met him. But most people you can. They just have to be aware of it. And that's what goes back into that internal of you let your internal define your external, not your external define your internal. You got to start within first. And when you start within, how the Dalai Lama say it says, be the change, I believe it is. Be the change. And it's so true. You, as an individual, have so much more power than you can give yourself credit for sometimes. And when you realize if you act and do and respond a certain way, everything else will respond in kind. And you will become a powerhouse. The scary thing was, going back to Adolf Hitler, he was powerful. He really believed in himself, and he believed in his message. He believed in it so strongly that he made other people start believing in it too. And I think that's a very dangerous message. I do believe We're not naturally built that way. It's very dangerous building. It's very dangerous. And so I spread a different message. A message of similarity and difference. Similarity, appreciate the difference. We all have more similarities than we realize. But our differences are what make us special. It's what make us unique and able to do something no individual can do quite like you. And that's a beautiful thing. But you got to respect those similarities too. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants love. Everybody wants to be cared for. It's funny when you really explain it to people and break it down in a certain way, they get it every time. It's actually a very cool thing too. Like, I've dealt with my fair share of hurt, deeply hurt, angry people. They get it too. They will. It takes energy to do that. It does take energy. I'm not gonna lie. And for a person who wants to be in a positive state and doesn't want to deal with that muck, I get it. You can walk away from those people. I get it. But I want to rise above as a team, as a group, as a community. And I've met so many great people in this community. Actually, me and Zach have been talking about, Zach from ThinkShare, talking about my book. So I'm on the process of writing a book. And he's a pay it forward type guy. And I'm a pay it forward type guy too. Like, we meshed really, really well. Everyone in this community I've meshed very well with. I think everyone's so lovely and genuine, and they're empowering. Actually, I gotta throw positive vibes. Kenny, get some uploads on your channel, brother. You're missed, my man. But yeah, I follow everybody on their channels, and all the positive comments you guys leave for me, much appreciated. I have a ton of respect for you guys. And it turns into, I was a 6-year-old kid. It was tough. I had difficult times. Even as an adult, I still have difficult times. But I'm so much more aware of those times. And I had a great family system. Great family system who really put me in the right position to manage a lot early on and take it individually. Like I said, the reason I'm so empowered by saying look in the mirror. My dad at a very young age told me to look in the mirror. And he reminded me that whatever happens, because you did it. And it was so empowering. It made me want to gain so much knowledge from that. I wanted to constantly learn, constantly understand, constantly adjust. And I just wanted to go a little bit faster for each generation. Just a little bit faster. Because the more you learn and understand, the more you realize we're all a lot more similar than we realize. But we all have something unique. We all have something special. We all have our own personal story. And it's a beautiful thing. That's why I can relate to anyone, is because I just listen to their story. They'll tell it to you. Take the time to listen to a person. No one does not want to not tell their story. That's one thing I've learned. Everybody wants to tell their story, myself included. Everybody wants to tell their story. And sometimes, before you tell your story, listen to another individual's story. Because you'll see the empowerment in that connection when you do it. It was so cool. Like, I feel me and Melissa are even more connected than we were before. And I felt very connected to her. I mean, got a lot of love for her. But watching her laugh like that about the potatoes and she was almost in tears a couple of times. And it's a cool thing. Like, when you can just laugh and smile and have a good time of life, there's nothing better than that. Like, it's a great feeling. The same thing with Metaphysical Mike, who was talking about laughing yoga. I'm going to have to give that a try sometime. But the laughing yoga was just, and he was going off, and it was great. It's so awesome. And then one of my personal favorites, the Chewbacca viral mask, where this lovely lady, she's putting on this Chewbacca mask and just going crazy about how awesome it is and how it makes noise when she opens her mouth. Ah! And she goes, "It's not me, it's the mask!" And she's just having a blast. Like, just thinking about it right now, it makes it awesome. And so, you put your mindset in a place of love, a place of peace, a place of happiness. Everything else is just going to work itself out. Everything starts becoming simple because you start narrowing, you start focusing, you start doing the things that you need to do. But when you take a place of fear, doubt, anxiety, everything gets wide. Too much, it's too much, because that's the same thing of when you go externally. The group, it's too big. Internally, it's tight, it's fixed. You can do something about internal. The external, that is a hard change. And how can you change the external without changing your internal? That's important for people to know. And that's why I say it all starts in the mirror. Every change that you want all starts in the mirror. And I will continue to repeat that message because I know some who get it and some who think they get it. Like, I've seen people who think, I get the eye. But then they talk about how I got this is going wrong in my life. But realize you can do something about it. Always realize you have power in that. That's what that message is. So to say you get the message and then respond and act in a different way is just kind of like, well, it takes practice. Just like everything else, it takes practice. And as an individual, I will take my time to understand and explain people the best that I can and explain it to them in a way that I can, in an empowering, uplifting way. Because I think when they get it, not only do they really get it and change their lives, but they end up touching and changing other people's lives too. And I mean, isn't that what it's all about at the end of the day? We're all going to live, we're all going to die. And it's like, what message are you going to give to the society? What are you going to finish with? And I don't think there's a more beautiful message than that. Find your own greatness and help others find theirs. Went over 25 again. Well, I'm going to take off here. I hope you guys have a great day. It's been a blast. Thank you.